Today we are going to be using the primary colors to mix the secondary colors. We're going to paint our whole piece of paper with color, and then next week we will trace circles and cut out the circles for the gumballs. The first thing I want you to do is write your name on the back, nice and big. Then you can flip it over so you can't see your name. We are going to have it the landscape way, the long way. And the first thing I want you to do is to divide and draw a line down the middle, across the middle of your artwork. It does not have to be perfect, but this looks about the middle. I'm going to draw a line across the middle. Again, we're not going to use a ruler. This does not have to be perfect as we're going to be cutting out the circles from this paper. But draw a line across the middle. Then we want to make 3 sections across or down the middle. So we're going to do 2 lines. Before you start, why don't you kind of mark it so it looks like I can do a line here, and these look even, 3 even sections. Then I will draw a line down so that I have 6 sections. 3 for the primary colors and 3 for the secondary colors. Now we are ready to paint. At your table you will need a placemat so we do not get our tables dirty. You will have the 3 primary colors at your table, blue, yellow, and red, and you will share that with everybody at your table. You will each have a mixing tray, and this is where you will put or mix your secondary colors. You will each have 1 paintbrush for yourself, and then at your table there will be 3 more paintbrushes, and 1 for each of the primary colors, but you can set those aside for now. We don't need those quite yet. And then to rinse your brush, you will need a cup of water. You will share that with the person next to you, and you will each have your own paper towel. The first thing I want you to do is we're just going to paint the primary colors. So we can all start with red. Carefully open the red, and you're going to choose, it does not matter which section. I think I'll just start with the first one here, and I'm going to paint it red. Make sure you're using plenty of paint. You don't want to see any white underneath. But go ahead and paint your first red, your first primary color. Now I'm ready for my second primary color, but of course I have red on my brush, and so I'm going to rinse my brush. Kind of dab it off on the side. I need more. I can still see I have red on my brush. Wipe it off on the side. I don't want to hear any tapping. And then before you get your next one, use your paper towel and just kind of wipe off any extra red that you might have. And now I'm ready to go and grab some blue and do the second primary color. I think I'll put it just right next to it. It's very important your paintbrush is pretty dry. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry, but make sure it's pretty dry before you paint your secondary color. Go ahead and paint your second primary color. Now again, before you go into the yellow, this third primary color, rinse your brush. And actually you can see that my water is turning violet. I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but it's turning violet because I have red and blue, and red and blue make violet. So I'm going to rinse, dab on the side, rinse again a little bit more, dab on the side, and then dab it with my paper towel. Get all of that extra blue off before I go into yellow. Do the same thing on the last place. Go ahead and do your last primary color. Now that you're done with all three primary colors, we're ready to start mixing. Of course, wash your brush. And if your water starts to get really, really icky, you can always dump it out and get new water. You can always grab a new paper towel as well if you need. And you have a clean brush to start mixing. Now at your table you have 3 clean brushes. One for red, one for yellow, and one for blue. So we're all going to start and we're going to mix red and yellow, which is going to make orange. So with my red brush, and you're going to have to take turns, I'm going to take red. I'm going to put it on my mixing palette. And I want to make sure I'm taking plenty of paint. We have to paint an entire square. Then I'll set this brush down. Someone else could maybe use it. And then I'm going to get yellow with a clean brush. Notice how I'm not mixing them. I'm just putting them next to each other with these clean brushes. And I have even amounts. I don't want to have more of another color. Then you can set that maybe on the placemat. Now with your clean brush, now that you have red and yellow, you can mix them together to get orange. Now let's say you're maybe thinking, that still looks kind of red. If it gets too yellow, or if it gets too red, you can always add more of another color. But please be careful not to get the brush. You can always set it over here. You don't want to get this brush dirty. Bring in this yellow. There, it's turning definitely more orange. And again, kind of we want to be like scientists. We need to figure out how much we need to add. That should be enough to turn it orange. And now that we have orange, you can choose one area to paint. So I think I'll go right here. Don't want to touch that yellow, don't want to get them mixed up. And now I'm ready to mix another secondary color. Rinse my brush. Dab it off. Now with those clean paintbrushes, this will be our mixing one. Set that aside. And now we'll mix violet. So I'll take red again, put it on a new place on my palette. Then with this clean brush, I'll take blue, making sure we're leaving room for green. And then with my clean mixing brush, I can go ahead and mix the two to make violet. That looks good. I don't think I need to add any more blue or any more red. It's kind of a dark violet, and that's because of our color of blue. And I'm going to paint one of these squares, one of these sections, violet. Go ahead and mix your violet. And finally, rinse your brush. You probably got new water by now. You can also guess the last secondary color we're going to mix. Dab off my brush, get all of that violet off. And with the last spot on your mixing tray, we're going to grab yellow. And blue. And then with your clean mixing brush, mix the two together to make green. And then you can go ahead and paint your last section green. Now we are done with mixing our secondary colors. We'll just have to wait for it to dry, and then we can cut out the gumballs.